Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and to another Fortnite tips and tricks video. This one is how to win games in Fortnite Chapter 5, Season 3. And oh boy, they ever change up the gameplay this season. So, this season you're definitely going to want to land at one of the boss locations to get their medallion. Most importantly, you're going to want to get their mythic car, as they are completely overpowered. Now, you're definitely going to want to check your map to make sure the boss is actually at their normal location, because this season, two of the bosses can sometimes be driving around with a convoy, just like you see here in this video. Now, my favorite medallion and my favorite weapon comes from the machinist, who you can usually find at Red Line Rig. But now, if the boss is not at their location and are driving around with the convoy and the battle bus, you can simply just land on top of the battle bus and pickaxe one of the goons to death, and then use the turret on top to damage the car until the boss gets out. You can also just land on the front windshield of the car and just pickaxe the boss and then steal the car and drive away. I'm not even kidding you. So once you take away all the boss's shield, they should get out of the car. Oh my god, you stop freaking mantling. You know, I hate mantling in this game. Anyway, so I almost died because my character chose to mantle over the car instead of get in it, but I took off with the car, and now all of a sudden I'm seeing footprints. And now if you swap seats, you can use the turret that's on top of the car. Now, two of the boss's cars have a machine gun turret, and the one, which is like the G-Wagon equivalent, I think it's called a Behemoth, has a grenade launcher on top. Now, all of the boss cars also have unlimited ammo. They also regen health over time, like repair themselves, as long as you're not taking damage. Unlimited turbo boost, which is now called Nitro, and Nitro is also a player buff now, so if you lean out the window and shoot while inside the car, your bullets will actually fire faster than they normally do, allowing you to output damage much more quickly than your opponents. Now, the machine gun, if you shoot it too much on top of the car, it can overheat, and if you have the grenade launcher on top, that one just regenerates ammo slowly over time. So you can't fire it if you fire all the shots and it hasn't regained the ammo yet. There are also attachments on the front bumpers of the cars now. One is a spike bumper, which deals more damage when you hit enemy players. There's another one called a cow catcher, and that one just basically destroys structures instantly. There's also two modifications for your tires. We have off-road tires, which makes it easier to drive off-road. It also elevates the car up a little bit, and bulletproof tires. Now you can mod regular cars by running over these boxes you'll find at gas stations and other areas around the map. But if you do this while in a boss car, it will do nothing, as you cannot change the modifications on these cars. Now, one thing that really confused me at first was when I was playing team modes like duos or squads and someone else was driving. If I was in the passenger seat, I was able to hit my swap seat button and get to my inventory and like lean out the window and use items and such. When I was playing solos, I couldn't do that for some reason, but I figured out that you still can. All you have to do is swap over to the seat with the turret, and then just hit the button you would normally hit to swap to different items in your inventory. So on PlayStation, for example, that would be my L1 and R1 triggers. So, as you see, after I took off with the car, I ended up fighting a couple players with the car turret. It took them out very easily, and then headed back as another player was fighting the boss and was trying to steal the medallion and the mythic weapon. Now, the machinist's medallion regenerates your shield over time up to 75%, and she has a combat AR, which is mythic, and it's just a straight up laser beam. Probably one of the best ARs I think we've ever had in the game. Seriously, is that good. So, and in order to win easily in Chapter 5, Season 3, you're going to want to try to take out the other mythic cars after you've already acquired one. So, Megalodon, the one who has the mythic SUV, was also out on tour with another battle bus, and I seen that on the map. So I came over here, took him out very easily, as someone was obviously already fighting him, and quickly cleaned up all his henchmen and maybe an enemy player. I'm not too sure, not paying attention here. And then I immediately put my focus on the mythic SUV. Now, this thing has more health than any of the other mythic cars, and is a straight up menace, especially if you're playing in squads. But when playing solos, I really do prefer the two-seater cars, as it's easier to swap back and forth between the seats. And I also do prefer the turret over the grenade launcher, as I just find it's easier to hit shots with it than the grenade gun. Plus, it's easy to shoot all the grenades out of the grenade launcher attachment, and then how you have to wait for them to refill over time where the turret, the cooldown on it is much faster. Now, Megalodon drops two mythic weapons. He drops a new mythic combat shotgun, and he also drops mythic nitro fists. Now, his fists give you one extra charge to use when using the fists, and they also seem like they propel you a little farther than the regular ones do. And his medallion gives you never-ending nitro buff, which makes you move faster, allows you to jump right through walls, and also your weapons will shoot faster. Now here's those boxes I was talking about that you can hit with your car in order to mod them. That one there has a wrench on it, and anytime you hit one of these, it will heal your car to 100%, even repairing the tires and the windshield, everything. And another thing I found that is really helping, especially with Endgame in Season 3, as soon as you have a car, especially if you have a mythic one, start shooting every car you see, even if they're not a threat right now, because they could be a threat to you later. Literally pop the tires, shoot out some windows, make them undesirable for people to want to jump in and mod them. Because remember, anybody can still go to one of those wrench boxes and heal it, and there's also a pad at the gas stations that you can park your car on to repair them, as well as repair torches, which you can also buy off NPCs around the map. And if you've played this season already, you already know how quickly a person in a car can just completely take your health from full to 0 in seconds. So if you are tired of being destroyed by players using cars, sadly, one of the best counters for a car is to be in a car yourself. And that's just the way it is this season. Whether you like this style of gameplay or not, it's an old saying, if you can't beat them, you might as well join them. If you want to win, that's what I recommend that you do. And now with the new attachments to these cars, especially the front bumper, that brings some more problems this season when using them. As you see here, sometimes your car can get stuck on something. So if you have the nitro fists, you can always use the uppercut attack, and you can always knock it off when it's stuck on, and be able to use the car again. If that doesn't work, shockwaves are the best bet. And now you might be wondering why I was even trying to drive my car down into that weapon bunker in the first place. The reason for this is because people will love to try to steal that car from you if you get out of it. You'd be surprised how often I've seen it happen, or just had someone jump right into the passenger seat with you, or even the driver's seat when you're using the turret or the grenade launcher. So it was definitely in my best interest to do this, as it will prevent anyone else from getting their hands on this car. And now the weapon bunkers this season, they're kind of pretty much just a waste of time, to be honest with you. I mean, you never ever see anybody fighting over these anymore because everybody is just using cars for the most part. And even if you do end up modding a weapon down here, chances are you're probably not going to get much use out of it anyway, especially in solos. Now, they can be really good if you have really bad loot, or if you get rebooted in team modes in order to get some good loot, or if you're low on gold. Now, the UI of the weapon mod benches is a little bit different this season, how it looks and the buttons you have to press, but all of the weapon mods are the exact same ones that we had last season. And as always, after modding your weapons at any kind of weapon bench, it's always a good idea to make sure that you stop and check that they are fully loaded to do the drum bag attachment, and we still have that error in the game. Now here's just an example of me switching seats in solos, getting to the turret, and then being able to get to my inventory to reload my weapons. And I've seen a few people still complain that they can't do that this season if they're in a car that has a turret or a grenade launcher on it, but that's not the case. You definitely can. You just have to switch to that seat and then hit your inventory swapping button. Now here, you can see actually two more cars here, and I just decided to also grief them. You also may notice that this entire game, every single kill that I have gotten has been inside this car with that turret. Hitting the weapon mod boxes as well can be a big advantage if you're in a mythic car, as it's going to stop others from being able to mod their car if the box is not recharged yet. Now, notice that car there, I just popped both the tires on it, because this is going to come into play way later on in this game. Now here's a guy who has the grenade launcher attachment who starts shooting some grenades at me, so I decided to give him chase and shoot him down. And now my car, since Mythic, has a limited nitro boost, so you can literally catch up to anybody in this game if you have one of these cars. But I stopped because I noticed the third and final mythic car just abandoned, parked on this bridge. Whoever left this car behind on here was a big fool for doing so. And if you're wondering how you can tell if it is a boss car or not, you'll notice that the boss cars always have that yellow and black checkered flag on the back. And again, here I am shooting more random cars that I'm going past just to put some damage on them and pop some tires just to make them less desirable for others to use and weaker for me to destroy later if I have to. Now, I'm pretty set to win this game as I'm the only person who has a boss car left, as I've destroyed the other two. My only real threat left at this point, in my mind, is the person who has the last medallion, because they also have the mythic boom bolt explosive crossbow, which can deal a lot of damage to vehicles. And that medallion also gives them unlimited ammo and a damage buff. Now, I wasn't too sure where this player was actually shooting me from. I did think that he was up in that tower there. And now notice how I'm ramming into it with my car to destroy it, and it is taking a few hits for me to do so and knock it down. Now, this is because I have the spiked front bumper attachment. If I had the cow catcher, it would have just been destroyed instantly. So if you're a builds player, cow catcher would probably be the better attachment to use if you're not running a mythic car. And notice, what does this player do? He jumps in that G-Wagon and ends up fleeing. Go figure, the one car that I did not shoot in grief. And now I can see the indicator that he was flying, so I decided just to actually get out of the situation here to let my car regenerate health, and I didn't know if he's maybe going to try to land in the car. I did not want him to do that. Now I remember there was a gas station over this way, so even though my car does regenerate health over time, it wasn't in storm yet, so I decided to go here just to get to full health faster, so that I could then go and track down this player with the last medallion and the mythic boom bolt. Now I ended up finding him again very quickly. He ended up shooting me with the boom bolt from the top of this hill here. So I immediately went and pushed in the car, tried to run him over as the spikes, because somebody going fast will do a ton of damage this season. Ended up hitting him for 120 damage. He starts going to flee down the hill. He then builds some stuff, and I ended up boosting and can just rip right through almost all of his wooden builds, even with just the spikes. So do keep that in mind. You can still run right through stuff with these cars this season. If I keep applying pressure, I see that he's now healing with Flowberry Fizz, so I know this guy has to be weak, and this player was actually a pretty good player, and he did actually put up a fight and refused to give up. But look at where he went to flee to. What did he flee into? A car. Same car that I popped both the tires on the right or left side earlier in this video. I also ended up hitting that mod box by accident, so he couldn't use that to mod his car, and he could not escape. Going up this hill, and I just fried him with that machine gun again. And now I get the final medallion, so I have all 3 medallions, plus the mythic boom bolt. At this point, there's not really much of any threat to me at all in this lobby, and I've pretty much won this game, and I know it. I have nothing really to worry about. Literally, the only thing I have to do now is just focus anybody else who does actually have a car, and just not do anything stupid, and the game is won. So at this point here on out in the video, all I basically did was drive around and grieved any other car I seen, and focused any players that I did end up coming across, applying pressure on them, shooting them and such. And you're going to notice that there was only one other guy left here with a car. That was it. So it was really easy endgame because I had basically destroyed most of the other cars I came across, and nobody else had any mythic weapons or medallions in order to really contest me. And that is how, currently, you're going to be able to win more games during Season 3 of Chapter 5. Now, I do want to give my thoughts on this season and just a little bit of advice to everybody here. Now, when this season first came out, I honestly hated it. And I still do hate this current meta. I just don't really understand why this was the entire Battle Royale season. I don't think that these cars with guns would have been better as an LTM or an extra mode, but it really is what it is. There's nothing that you can do to change that. And now that I have been playing around with the cars a little bit more, getting used to swapping seats and getting a little bit better with the gun turret shooting and stuff, I have actually been having quite a bit more fun with the season than I have in previous ones. So if you are somebody who is really hating this season because you don't want to use cars, or you don't like using cars, or you just haven't been having fun with it, I'd advise you not to be so quick to judge and to maybe actually just play the game a little bit more for what it is. Because you can't really do too much to change it, and I am sure that at some point these cars are probably going to get nerfed, or there are going to be more things added to the meta, like EMP grenades and such, to counter the cars. That's going to make this season a little bit more easier and more enjoyable to play. My biggest gripe with the season so far is just the fact that, look at the loadout I had this game. I didn't even use any of those guns once because I'm just using the car. That is kind of just really ridiculous in my opinion, and not really what the game should be. And clearly if something is that good that you don't even need to use anything else, then something needs to change. I do think though that these car mods and weapon mods going to the game could be a very good thing for creative or for different game modes in the future. But that will be it for this video. I'm Big Papa Spur 187. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe if you haven't already. And to have fun gaming. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Also, in my last video I did mention how I was working on a Lego Fortnite video for this channel, and that video still is in the works, and it still is coming. I'm still going to be doing Battle Royale content though, mainly. But if you are waiting for that, don't worry, it is still coming. I just wanted to make sure I had some content about the new season out first. Anyway, bye for now.